Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit, and I'm going to entitle this one, Deliverance comes from Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Meaning, all these people in the world, these doomsday preppers, even Israelites that know that they're Israelites, that ultimately think that they're able to maneuver and do their own thing based off whatever plans they had. For example, you have these doomsday preppers that ultimately are trusting in the flesh and stocking up on canned goods, water, building a doomsday bunker, stocking up on guns and ammo, gold and silver, because ultimately they're under the vibration of this world. They're under the vibration of Esau, Edom, which is ultimately to be carnal. Because really, the only way out of the upcoming time from Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, all hell breaking loose, and ultimately the thermonuclear destruction of America, Babylon the Great, the only way up out of that, it's going to be through Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. It's not going to be based off what man can do, because really we're not even in control of what we're doing to prepare for the upcoming times. Is all the will of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi and the remnant, the elect of the nation of Israel, that consist of members of the 144,000 and that large multitude. They're not preparing carnally like these people in the world. Even Israelites that know that they're Israelites, they're not even preparing, because they don't think that all hell's about to break loose. They don't have faith because they haven't been given faith by Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. That's why they're moving the way they are, claiming that they're going to be saved or be delivered based off keeping the laws 100%, which ultimately is having faith in Yahawashi. This is Psalms chapter 3 and verse 8. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Said long. So deliverance, getting saved from all hell breaking loose, that's going to come from Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. That's not going to come from, I've been prepping for decades because I know that this is coming. The financial collapse, the economic collapse, all hell breaking loose, civil war. That's only people in the world that think like that. But what they're not counting on is that, are you going to be able to reach your bunker when all hell is breaking loose? Are you even going to be close to it? Are you even going to get to it? And the answer is no. All these people in the world that have been preparing carnally, stocking up on ammo, guns, they don't know if they're going to be near that. They don't know if they're going to be near that bug out bag. But they have that mindset that they are, because ultimately they don't know the will of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. The will of the Lord is to exalt his name. And the way that he's going to do that is by showing his power, by delivering the elect and the remnant. Not by, the doomsday preppers, they got through Jacob's trouble. They got through, all hell breaking loose, World War III. But you still got the missiles coming. And that's why ultimately Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to have to deliver the remnant and the elect by the way of the UFOs, which are the chariots of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the so-called UFOs. This is Psalms 18 and verse 2. The Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my power, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and a horn of my salvation, and my high tower. So it's not because of our own doing. No, it's the strength, the power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi that's about to be shown upon the planet Earth, ultimately to glorify his name, not to glorify us, not to glorify men, because that's what these people in the world are trying to do. They're trying to show that, oh yeah, look, I'm going to save myself, I'm going to deliver myself, but they don't know if they're going to be near all those goods and bug out bags and whatever these people in the world have been preparing for. A lot of people are preparing, oh, we're going to form a militia, we're going to make a homestead, and we're going to be good. No, the only way out of these upcoming times is through Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And the Lord is going to keep his remnant and his elect, because ultimately they put their trust and faith in the Lord, while the rest of these people, they're making their buckler, they're making their high tower themselves. But it's ultimately not going to prevail. The only thing that's going to prevail is the saving power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. It's about to be shown in these upcoming days very soon. We're in the time of prophecy. We're in the time of all hell breaking loose. And that's why a lot of people, they know that all hell is about to break loose. The only ones who aren't preparing at all is the 2/3 of our people, because they don't believe that all hell is going to break loose. So at least, these doomsday, at least they're preparing, physically, but they're not preparing spiritually. And that's ultimately the best way to prepare is spiritually, mentally, even physically, in a sense, getting in shape. Because like the scripture says, the remnant, the elect, they're gonna have to be pilgrims upon the planet Earth. They're gonna have to detach themselves from society, from the grid, for not taking the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip. This is Proverbs 18 and verse 10. The name of the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. And that's the only way out, is through Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, hiding under that strong tower. Especially right now, while the mercy period is still open, the grace, the period of grace is still open, because very soon the famine of the war is going to hit, and that's when Jake is going to want to run into that strong tower, but they're not going to be able to. The only ones who are going to be safe and be delivered are going to be the remnant, those who knew, okay, I need to get myself right while there's still time, because the time of mercy, it's running out. But the remnant, the elect, like it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. They're getting themselves right because they know that all hell is about to break loose. Like it says, no man knoweth the hour or time that Yahawashi is going to come back. But he did give us signs, and we're in those times of earthquakes in diverse places, nations against nations, wars and rumors of wars. So we're very close to the downfall of this kingdom being ran by the self-proclaimed white man, and the establishment of the kingdom of heaven upon the planet Earth, which is going to be ran by the nation of Israel. But before that happens, we got to go through that straight and narrow path, that path of difficulty. Like it says in Acts chapter 14 and verse 22, through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven. And that's all going to come during these upcoming times, Jacob's trouble, civil war, martial law. But ultimately, the Lord is going to keep his remnant and his elect through these difficult times. This is Proverbs 21 and 31. The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. So we're getting ready for that day of battle, a time like no other, like it says in Daniel chapter 12. But the remnant and the elect, they're getting prepared spiritually, because they know that, okay, I'm not going to be able to deliver myself, based off a gun, a Glock, a sword, like these 2/3 Israelites. Because, you got Jake in the world that know that all hell is about to break loose, but they're not preparing spiritually. They're stocking up on Glocks and AKs and doomsday prepping, pretty much, not knowing that Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, has a lot of never before seen things. It's like the robot dogs with the gun attached to themselves. Yeah, these Terminator robots and beasts newly created beasts. But yet Jake is thinking that, oh, this is gonna be a couple soldiers. No, it's a time like no other. That's why ultimately we're going to need divine intervention. And the Lord is going to show that divine intervention to his remnant and his elect. This is Psalms 44 and verse 6. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. Verse of Psalms 44 and 7. But thou hast saved us from our enemies and hast put them to shame that hated us. And this is King David, one of the mightiest men in the Bible, one of our ancient forefathers. And like it says, David killed his tens of thousands. But even he said, I will not trust in my bow. Neither shall my sword save me. He's given all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, because that's ultimately where the power comes from. Not from men, not from I bench 600 pounds. I could curl 200 pounds in each arm. No, it's ultimately the strength, the power, and honor and glory of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. So he could be exalted, not so we could exalt ourselves. And no, spiritual power is coming to the humble ones, which are the remnant and the elect. Those who know that they're going to need help, and ultimately they're going to need it from the heavens, from up high, not from the Glock and the switch, like these 2 third YNs. This is Jeremiah 17 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, cursed be the man that trusted in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. So that's majority of the people in the world, the 2/3 of our people, and these heathens, these red-blooded Edomite patriots, because they're making flesh their arm. They believe that somehow they're going to get through these rough times carnally without any help from above, but they're going to get destroyed. They're going to get put to death. A lot of these people think that they're going to be chilling, while all hell's breaking loose, and be kicking it in their bunker. You're going to have those more marauders. Then a lot of these preppers, they're not even going to be near their bunkers. Ultimately, a lot of these preppers, they're making provisions for the remnant and the elect. Like in that movie Leave the World Behind, that girl at the end, she ran into that bunker. It was filled with all types of goods, because those people didn't even get to it. They might have got put to death. They might have had to run off somewhere, but somebody else stumbled up on that bunker. And that's what's about to happen in these last days. The remnant and the elect, they're not going to have to build a whole ass bunker and a house full of goods and toilet paper. No, all these things has already been made, prepared for the remnant and the elect. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Yeah, because while these people in the world are bugging out of how they're going to get through these rough times, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ride this bike through the forest and the wilderness and get away from the city. But that's going to lead to death. So that's for it to be carnally minded is death. But the remnant and the elect, they're spiritually minded. They have that peace. They have that comfort, by Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, because the Lord already said he's going to keep his remnant and his elect. Like it says, look at the scriptures. Get it real quick. I don't want to butcher it. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And the answer is nobody, because all the righteous men and women in the scriptures, ultimately they called out to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi because they knew, damn, I don't got it. Without the Lord, I can't get up out of this. But ultimately, the Lord always comes through for his remnant and his elect. Those who are crying out to him because they know, okay, I don't got it. I can't deliver myself. I need help from Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. This is Luke 17 and verse 33. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So these people in the world, they're looking to seek their life. They want to continue living here in Babylon the Great. They want to continue to further themselves. But where is it going to lead to? It's going to lead them to get put to death. It's going to lead them to take that MOTB, the RFID microchip, because they want to continue living in this filth. But the remnant, they know that this isn't the end all be all, so they're willing, to lose their life on this side. In a sense, meaning they're willing to detach themselves, live off the grid, not bow down to the image of the beast and take his mark, which is the MOTB, the RFID microchip. And that's what a lot of people are going to do. They're going to try to save their life on this side by, doomsday prepping. If that doesn't work, then they're going to take the MOTB. But then you have the elect that aren't going to fold. They're not going to bow down to the modern day of statue of Nebuchadnezzar, the MOTB, because they know that this current life is vain. Is full of corruption. We live in a degenerate society. Everything's backwards. So ultimately, we know that this place has to fall. But before it falls, the Lord is going to come with all these different plagues, these pestilences, famines, the sword. But the elect are going to be kept from these things, because ultimately these judgments, they're reserved for the wicked, for those who refuse to repent and turn back to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of the nation of Israel. They're reserved for these heathens who are proud as all hell, to have that mindset that, okay, all hell's going to break loose and I'm going to rise like a phoenix from the ashes. No, the next thing that is going to get established is not the NWO. Even after the NWO gets established and Esau, Edom think that he won, that's when the Lord is going to rain that great wrath upon him. Like it says, when he's about to fill his belly, the Lord is going to rain his wrath upon him. That's what's about to come. That's why Esau, Edom is getting ready to come down with that great wrath, because he knoweth that he had a short time. But that great wrath, that sword, those robot dogs, all these judgments, these spirits created for vengeance, they're for the wicked 2/3 of our people and these heathens. But even though the elect are going to be in the midst of it, the Lord is going to show who he has been dealing with by delivering them, by keeping them stable, by the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But these are the times we're coming into very soon, where the Lord is about to show his saving power by delivering his remnant and his elect, those who have fully put their trust and faith in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from him who drew